welcome everyone to X-Plane 11. We're doing some more Vulkan testing today in 1150 Beta 1. And I'm in the Oculus Rift S. For the first time, in fact, for quite a while. And I thought, you know, I really need to try this headset out in Vulkan. Now, I thought what better way to do it than to, that's nice down there, than to buy myself a brand new Orbex Airport. So this is Edinburgh. It's currently on sale for like £9, which is just the bargain of the century, and I've got to say they have done an absolutely stellar job. Now, in the past when I bought an Orbex Airport, particularly East Midlands, in fact you can watch the review on my channel, I was horrified when I tried that in VR. It was horrible. It was just so jaggy and stuttery, and it was just a horrible experience. But here in Vulkan, I mean, it would do the same thing, especially at, you know, somewhere like here. This is a huge, humongous airport full of detail, and I'm getting really smooth 40 frames per second. That's really impressive, and that is down to Vulkan. It's also down to this headset that I'm using. Let's go outside quickly and have a look. Wow, that is beautiful. Look at that. I was really hoping that Vulkan would give me a true 45 frames per second with the reverb. That was what I was really hoping for, but it hasn't happened. Not really, it hasn't happened. Particularly with my system anyway, which is an 8600K Intel i5 with a 1080 Ti card and 16 gigs of RAM, which I probably need to update soon, to be fair. But, you know, I have a feeling with the way the VRAM is managed now, it takes into consideration the texture resolution that you're using. And of course, in the case of the Reverb, you're using a 4K headset. I do think that will have its own impact with the use of VRAM and the use of your sort of textures and how they're modeled and how they're represented. I'm finding in the Rift S, since its native resolution is much lower, that all the textures seem to be loading in much better, and everything is just that bit smoother. So yeah, really interesting. I tell you what, honestly, this headset is absolutely brilliant. I've forgotten how good the Rift S is in X-Plane, and I use many sims. You know, I use DCS, Aerofly, Prepared, IL2, Elite Dangerous, and all of those sims, I think the Reverb is better by a long way. You know, a lot of those sims you don't need to use controllers either, so you can just use the mouse, because the controllers are rubbish. I don't like them at all. In fact, at the moment I'm having an issue with mine where the battery light comes on after 10 minutes, and I know there's a fix that you can remove the controller, you know, take it apart, but I'm not doing that. I paid good money for that Reverb. I'll be sending the controllers back, definitely. But anyway, in X-Plane you do use the controllers a lot, and of course it's kind of like native to the sim, a bit like what I'm hoping Microsoft's new flight sim is going to be for the Reverb, being it's a Windows, you know, based product. So basically, I think with the integration of the Oculus software with X-Plane, the way it just works, I do think that has a great impact on how it feels. It's just a joy to use. So really guys, honestly, if, as a sort of conclusion really, to straight away, I would recommend that if you're just using X-Plane and no other flight sim, get a Rift S, seriously. Or if you've got one, just, you know, keep using it, enjoy it, because it's superb. And in Vulkan, it's shining. It really is. It's very, very nice. This is a much nicer experience for me in the Rift S than it is in the Reverb in X-Plane right now. Now, it is a shame, because obviously the Reverb has those absolutely incredible lenses, and it is still a joy to use in X-Plane. But you can't get away from that smoothness. As I'm looking down on the ground now, It is absolutely silky smooth. And I'll tell you why it is in a second, once we do this touch and go. Flaps down, gear down. Gotta say, this airport is amazingly detailed. Look at it. There's no way I'd have been able to get away with doing this with this amount of detail before. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a dodgy landing. I can feel it already. It's been a while since I've flown this aircraft. Oh, actually that wasn't too bad. A little bit of a bounce. Let us settle down there. Right, we'll just go outside for a nice view as we take off. Very nice indeed. So, I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it, really? Because I love both headsets. I really do. And I'd never be able to choose between them. They're like, that's like choosing between your children. But I think because I use so many different flight sims, it's great having both. And if I had to choose one, I probably would still choose the Reverb. But just by my tests here today using Vulkan, it just seems to be running better with the Rift S. No doubt about it. In fact, it is running better. I'm getting a really nice 40 frames per second. Now, actually, that's just reminded me of something. I've actually got it locked at the moment to lower than that because of this tool here. I've mentioned this quite a few times, but I'll keep mentioning it because it's really important. And my dog's just sat on my lead. Go on, go off. Sorry about that. This is the OVR tool. It can be downloaded from the org site and it's working perfectly, I'm pleased to say, in Vulkan. Now, if I click auto, I'll be getting about 40 frames per second. But if you can't quite reach that, which is a tall order in X-Plane, even with Vulkan, with VR, in areas like this, because basically I'm testing worst case scenarios here. You know, if you're on the Isle of Wight or if you're flying, you know, in a really sparse area, you're going to get really good frame rate. But it's always good to test your worst case scenario first, so that you know you're going to be okay in the rest of the X-Plane world. So I've got my super sampling set to 1.7. You can change that on the fly, pardon the pun. But if you can't quite reach 40 frames per second, it will get a bit juddery. So if you lock it to a quarter of its refresh rate, 27 frames per second, you're giving your computer valuable frames back so that you're able to, you know, process the flight modeling or loading more ortho tiles or show off a lot more detail. Look at that golf course down there. I really love how Orbex has given us a nice generous area of high resolution ortho. This is a really nice buy, I've got to say. I recommend this airport. Really, really nice. So this thing is a godsend, and it's this little window here, this little plug-in, that makes the Rift S better than the Reverb in X-Plane. Now this is nothing new, guys. I've said this quite a few times, and it's the sole reason why I still love the Rift. And I was really hoping that I would be able to use the Reverb more in X-Plane at 45 frames per second, but unfortunately that's still not possible. And I do think part of that is because of its high resolution and how that translates to the management of VRAM and all sorts and GPU processing. So yeah, really interesting. It's all good stuff. Wow, look at that down there. See, that's modelled as well. That's part of the airport, which is back there. But we get all this nice surrounding terrain here. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. absolutely gorgeous. So my impressions with the Oculus Rift S with Vulkan is absolutely fantastic. In fact, right now, I hate to say it, but it's a better experience than the Reverb in Explain. It really is. I mean, you can probably tell from the screen. In fact, I'm using the Oculus mirror, so it's not going to be the most amazing. It's going to seem a little bit jittery, but hopefully it'll come across as smooth as it feels. Oh, look at that for a view. Oh my god. Oh, that is spectacular. Look at that. And it's super smooth as well. So there we have it, guys. That is my kind of first look at the Vulkan using the Rift S. It really is quite spectacular. And I used to say that the Reverb is my sole kind of flight simming headset, and I haven't used the Rift S for flying for quite a long time, but that's now changed because of Vulkan. It's going to be a bit of a 50-50 now which headset I'm going to pick up when I go for a flight, and I guess that's going to be dependent on what I'm doing. If I'm going to be doing something where like this, for instance, VFR flying over like a lot of detail, I think I'll pick up the Rift S, I think, especially because of that real smooth performance with the terrain. But anything sort of, you know, which involves longer flights and more accuracy, and you need to really look at those displays and gauges and instruments, I think the Reverb's still going to be my go-to headset for that. But yeah, I think really it's a win-win, really, no matter which headset you have. But I've got to say, this feels really, really smooth in Vulkan. See if we can try a quick spin. See if we can try and get it to stutter. Oh my god! Wow! Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of this one. I'm actually in a flat spin, guys. Oh my god! Right, this is going to be the end of me. So before I demise, I'll just say thank you so much for watching, and I won't see you again on the next one. Oh my god! Where's the eject button? Ah! And now I'm feeling very dizzy. Oops. Oh dear.